Hello everyone, welcome to Ska Academy. Now we are going to learn about judiciary. What is the role of the judiciary? What are the powers of the court or the judiciary? And who appoints the judges of the Supreme Court and High Court? What is the process for the removal of the judge of the Supreme Court or a High Court? We are going to discuss in this video. So before we go into the details of the topic, I request all of you to please consider subscription. Please subscribe and support us. Moving to the topic, judiciary. Judiciary refers to an institution empowered to administer justice and provide a mechanism for the resolution of legal disputes. Judiciary means it contains a set of practices, rules and regulations which provides a mechanism, means a system to resolve the conflict. All the courts at different levels in the country put together is called judiciary. Judiciary is a practice or set of rules or norms followed to resolve any kind of conflicts. All the courts at different levels in the country put together are called the judiciary. Now the Indian judiciary consists of Supreme Court for the entire nation, High Courts and subordinate courts in the states, the district courts and the courts at the local level called the Lok Adalat. This is a sequence. India has an integrated and unified judiciary, which means that Supreme Court controls the entire judicial administration of the courts, and its decision, the Supreme Court's decision, is binding on all the courts of the country. So the highest court or the apex court in India is judiciary. The Indian judiciary has the Supreme Court at the top, the high courts for the state level, then there are subordinate courts, district courts at the local level, and Lok Adalat. So the entire judiciary system together is taken care by the Supreme Court. Supreme Court is the highest apex court in our Indian judicial system. The judicial administration is taken care by the Supreme Court. So the appointments of the High Court judges, Supreme Courts, the lower courts, district courts, everything is taken care by the Supreme Court. So the decisions which are taken by the Supreme Court are binding on all the courts of the country. Similarly, any judgments which are given by Supreme Court in the similar kind of cases, almost all the courts lower to it follow the same judgment. Now, coming to independence of judiciary. It means that judiciary is not under the control of legislature or executive. As we all know, the three organs of the government, legislature, executive, judiciary. So the judiciary is not under the control of legislature or executive. The judges do not act on the direction of the government or according to the wishes of the political party. In power, generally we feel that the judges do favor to the leaders in the political party or who are in the powerful position. No, the judiciary is independent of all this. That's why modern democracies, including India, have courts that are independent of legislature and the executives. They are not under the control of the legislature or the executive. Judiciary has independent nature in our country. That is the key point. Who appoints the judges of Supreme Court and High Court? The judges of the Supreme Court and High Court are appointed by the President on the advice of the Prime Minister and in consultation with the Chief Justice of the Supreme So who appoints the judges of the Supreme Court and High Courts? The judges of the Supreme Court and the High Court are appointed by President on the advice of the Prime Minister and also in consultation with the Chief Justice of India, that is CJI of India, or the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. The senior judges of the Supreme Court select the new judge of the Supreme Court and the High Court. This is very little scope for interference by the political executive here. The senior most judge of the Supreme Court is usually appointed as Chief Justice of the country or the Supreme Court. So who appoints the judges? The senior judges will be appointed by the President in consultation with the Prime Minister. Means the judges of High Court or Supreme Court are appointed by President only. On the name of President only we get the orders. On the advice of the Prime Minister only they will appoint. But whom they will appoint? They will not appoint anybody from outside. They will appoint the senior most judge in the Supreme Court panel will be the Chief Justice. On his advice, they will appoint the other judges and the High Court judges. So there is very limited scope for the political executive to get involved or show any interference. Generally, they don't show any involvement. How can we remove the judge? This is very important. The removal of the judge of the Supreme Court and High Court. Once a person is appointed as a judge of the Supreme Court or High Court, it is nearly impossible to remove him or her from the position. Yes, it is really very difficult as removing the President of India, because judges can be removed only by impeachment motion passed by separately by 2/3 members of both the houses in the parliament. It has never happened in the history of Indian democracy. If you want to remove any judge from the Supreme Court or from the High Court, you need to follow the impeachment process. What is impeachment process? Impeachment process means 2 months before we need to give a written notice to the judge whom we are putting the impeachment motion. Then that has to be discussed in the house of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and it has to be passed separately every individual house with 2/3 majority in the parliament, which is a very complicated process. In India, till now, no judge has been impeached, nor the president has been impeached. So it's a very complicated and nearly impossible process to remove the judges of Supreme Court. Or what are the powers of the Supreme Court? The powers of the Supreme Court is to take up any disputes between citizens of the country, between citizens and government, between two or more state governments, between the governments at the union level and at the state level. The Supreme Court will take up the cases which are between citizens of the country, means one or two groups or one citizen versus the other citizen. Secondly, they take up between citizen and the country or the government, between two or more state governments, and between government of the union and the state level. So one individual versus the other individual, one individual versus the state, one individual versus the central government, one individual versus two or more state governments, or two state governments versus the other state government, and the union government versus the state government. Like this, any higher authorities can be taken, cases can be taken, or the disputes can be taken to the Supreme Court. What is the role of the Supreme Court and the High Court? The role of the Supreme Court or High Court has a power to interpret, means understand the constitution of the country and give what is the exact meaning or understanding of that particular clause. They can declare any law which is made as invalid by the legislature if they feel it is against the constitutional spirit. And when they declare any law invalid or the actions of the executive invalid, national level or at the state level, it is against the constitution, they will not spare anyone. They can declare and determine the constitutional validity of any legislation, any law or any action of the executive in the country when it is challenged before the court. They can declare whether it is a right within the spirit of the constitution or not. The process or the powers of the Supreme Court to declare the legislative bills as valid or invalid after thorough inspection of it and explain whether it is in the limitations of the constitution or not is called judicial review. What is it called? Judicial review. And the Supreme Court of India was also ruled that the core or the basic principles of the constitution cannot be changed by the parliament. So Supreme Court in its judgment has clearly mentioned that the basic structure of the constitution cannot be changed. So Supreme Court is a guardian of the constitution. Judiciary as the highest authority. Yes, the powers and the independence of the Indian judiciary allows it to act as a guardian of the fundamental rights of the individual. Anyone can approach the court if the public interest is hurt by the actions of the government, and this is possible through public interest litigation known as PIL. So how can we be the guardians even if you are not a part of the thing or the issue which happened? You can approach to the court, send a letter, send an email, or write a note or a letter also, normal letter, postcard letter to the Supreme Court judge saying that this particular action of the government is against the interest and it hurts the public interest. The government, the Supreme Court can definitely take that one and question the actions of the government. The court can also intervene to prevent the misuse of the government's power to make decisions on certain matters. They check the malpractices of the public officials. That is why the judiciary enjoys high level of confidence among the people. Judiciary is the highest authority. It acts as a guardian for our fundamental rights. If any of our fundamental rights, right to equality, right to freedom, right to religious practices, anything is violated, you can definitely approach the state high court or Supreme Court. It will ensure that your fundamental rights are not violated. Similarly, if anything or any action by the government is hurting the public interest, we can file PIL, for which you need not be a part of the particular incident. Courts can also intervene when they find that government is misusing the power, or they also act and check the authority of the public officials when they are going against the spirit of the constitution. Because of all these factors, we consider judiciary as a high level of authority which can check the actions of the legislative and the actions of the executive. That's why people enjoy high level of confidence in the judiciary system. So judiciary is an independent authoritative institution which is empowered to administer justice and provide a mechanism for the solution and to resolve the conflicts legally. That's all we have in this video. Please stay tuned and subscribe.